it's their deal.
They've been sealed out though, within days.
I wonder how much that is.
It's $109 per person. Yes. And they have a thing on the Friday night, they have like a sermon, and then all day Saturday until late 1, and then they have it again from 7 to 10, and then Sunday they have it until noon.
So that'd be 2 hotels or 3? 2?
Friday and Saturday.
It'd be nice. But it's wonderful.
You put 4 in a room.
Either that or two nights of sleep in your car.
Yeah.
First off, I'd like to welcome Tisa back and Dan. And we have a visitor this morning. Nathan's got a friend here. It's her first time here. We'd like to welcome her. I kind of scared her this morning.
Yeah.
I asked her what her intentions with my grandson were. But it was all in fun. But being last week, I was led to change my thoughts for the message and all that. I decided that, well, Veterans Day was 3 days after service last week. Service this week is 4 days after Veterans Day. Why not just have the Veterans Day message today? So that's what we're going to do. If you would, go to Matthew 24. We're going to read verse 6. Again, that's Matthew 24, verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. When Dwight D. Eisenhower was president, he received a letter from an 8-year-old boy named Keith Aiken of Trumbull, Connecticut. Keith wrote, after listening to the news about the Cold War, I am worried about the people in the world. In thinking it over, I have a plan. Get all the leaders together who want war. Put them in a ring and let them fight it out. I'm sure that many veterans feel this way about war. Just let those who want to fight do the fighting. Don't involve everybody else in it. War is a terrible thing. And it seems that war is inevitable in our world today. Now, most Bible commentators believe that in this verse, Jesus was talking about the coming destruction of Jerusalem, which took place about 70 AD. But could it be that war is also a sign of the second coming of Christ? Many people believe so. Wars do seem inevitable. General Sherman once said, "You don't know the horrible aspects of war. I've been through 2 wars and I know. I've seen cities and homes in ashes. I've seen thousands of men lying on the ground, their dead faces looking up at the skies. I tell you, war is hell." I don't question Sherman's feelings and convictions about war. If you hadn't been there, you just don't know. But at the same time, I've heard it put this way. War is hellish, but not hell. Based on scripture, I would say that this is true, because nothing is as horrible as hell. World War II qualifies as perhaps the greatest war or the most horrible war in history. In all 61 countries, with 1.7 billion people, 3/4 of the world's population took part in it. In terms of money spent, it has been estimated at more than $1 trillion, which makes it the most expensive war of all. The human cost of lives, not including the 5 to 6 million Jews, is estimated to have been 55 million dead. 25 million of those were military. The other 30 million were civilians. War is indeed hellish. Some aspects of war are never right, regardless of the war. And we have to support those who are willing to go and give on behalf of their country. As someone once wrote, it is the veteran, not the preacher, who has given us freedom of religion. It is the veteran, not the reporter, who has given us freedom of the press. It is the veteran, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech. It is the veteran, not the campus organizer, who has given us freedom to assemble. It is the veteran, not the lawyer, who has given us the right to a fair trial. It is the veteran, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote. It is the veteran who salutes the flag, who serves under the flag. And Wednesday was Veterans Day. So today we're doing our part here in honor. And I hope that Wednesday you honor the veterans that you was in contact with. Because we owe each and every one of them a debt of our gratitude. Because they were willing to go, to serve, to give on behalf of the United States of America. And with that being said, let's think about what it takes to be a veteran of the faith of Christ. Something we all need to be and to do. And we see that it involves 3 steps. Step 1 is obey the commander. Step 2 is engage the enemy. And then finally, step 3 is to fight to the end. On step 1, obey the commander. A blowhard Air Force major was promoted to colonel and got a new office. The first morning he was in his new office, an airman knocked on the door and asked to speak to him. The colonel, feeling the urge to impress this young airman, picked up his phone and began talking. Yes, General. Thank you. Yes, I will pass that information along to the President this afternoon. Yes. Goodbye, sir. Then turning to the airman, he barked, and what do you want? Nothing important, sir, said the airman. I just came to hook up your telephone. Some people have authority, and some just pretend to have authority. Some people have authority, and some just want to be in authority. Our president has authority. And while we may not agree with everything he does or says, he is still our commander-in-chief, and we must support him in prayer. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 3 and 4 states, Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. Our ultimate commander-in-chief is Jesus Christ. Ephesians chapter 1 verse 22 states, and he had put all things under his feet and gave him to be the head over all things to the church. So Christ is the head of the body, the head of the church. And we need to listen to him. Shortly after joining the Navy, a new recruit asked his officer for a pass so he could attend the wedding. The officer gave him the pass, but informed the young man that he would have to be back by 7 p.m. on Sunday. You don't understand, sir, said the recruit. I'm in the wedding. No, you don't understand, the officer shouted back. You're in the Navy. One afternoon, author Patsy Claremont found herself on an airplane, sitting next to the young man. This is what she wrote. I have already observed something about this young man when I was being seated. He called me ma'am. At the time I thought, either he thinks I'm ancient, or he's from the South where they still teach manners, or he's in the service. I decided the latter was the most likely, so I asked, are you in the service? Yes, ma'am, I am. What branch? Marines. Hey, Marine, where are you coming from? Operation Desert Storm, ma'am. No kidding? Desert Storm? How long were you there? I asked. 1.5 years. I'm on my way home. My family will be at the airport. I then commented that he must have thought about returning to his family and home many times while he was in the Middle East. Oh, no, ma'am, he replied. We were taught never to think of what might never be, but to be fully available right where we work. Jesus, our commander-in-chief, tells us in Luke 6:46, and why call ye me Lord, Lord, and do not the things which I say? What else could we say? Number 2, you have to engage the enemy. An 18-year-old apparently took a Seattle police car for a joyride. The theft was reported on law enforcement broadcasts, and a bicycle patrol officer in downtown Seattle spotted it. A police car immediately gave chase, but lost sight of the stolen vehicle after pausing to check for oncoming traffic at an intersection. It was then that a second police car pulled up, and thinking that the stopped car was a stolen vehicle, rammed it from behind. 2 policemen in the car that had been hit thought that they were under attack. So they pulled out their guns and started shooting. A police spokesman said that the officers involved, 2 in the rammed car and 1 in the other, exchanged more than 25 rounds before they realized that they were shooting at each other. Now, isn't that what happens in some of our churches? Some members do more shooting at one another than they do at the real enemy. As Christians, we are at war, but we're not to be at war with each other. When we fight with one another, we are only helping the enemy. The devil loves church fights. We need to fight against such things by fighting against him. Ephesians 6:12 states this, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And then 1 Peter 5:8 states, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. In 1934, Joe Louis became the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. And he successfully defended the title 25 times over the next 15 minutes. The sports voice of those days, Bill Stern, asked Joe how he was able to knock his opponents out so quickly in almost every fight. After a few moments, he answered, 2 things. First, I study my opponent until I know him better than he knows himself. And second, I make a plan of attack. So what is our spiritual plan of attack? An old deacon who used to pray every Wednesday night at prayer meeting always ended his prayer the same way. And Lord, clean all the cobwebs out of my life. It got to be too much for one fellow in the prayer meeting. He had heard the old deacon one too many times. So when the man made that prayer, the fellow jumped up to his feet and shouted, Lord, don't do it. Kill the spider. Sometimes we're focused on the cobwebs instead of what caused those cobwebs. We all have cobwebs in our lives, but our real enemy is Satan. We need to fight against him, and we do that by bringing in the big guns. And this comes in the forms of prayer, Bible study, church, giving, serving, and so on. 1 Peter 5:8 and 5:9. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Who resists steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. We fight the enemy by doing the faith stuff in life. The third thing is fight to the end. Matthew 10:22. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But he that endureth to the end shall be saved. Matthew 24, verses 12 through 14. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come. A man once said, a young friend of mine just got back from boot camp. It was a rude awakening to life in the military. It was 24/7, not 9 to 5. The Christian life is not a matter of coming to church on Sunday morning and then forgetting about the faith the rest of the week. It's 24/7. A young recruit turned his nose up at the Army stew and complained to the mess sergeant, I don't like this stew. Don't I have any choice here? The sergeant replied, certainly, soldier. You can take it or you can leave it. We are called to fight in a war, not to sit around and gripe about what we don't like in life or in the church. Jim and Jim Corbett, who held the heavyweight boxing title for 5 years at the end of the 19th century. He said this: when your feet are so tired that you have to shuffle back to the center of the ring, fight one more round. When your arms are so tired that you can hardly lift your hands to guard yourself, fight one more round. When your nose is bleeding and your eyes are black and you're so tired that you wish your opponent would crack you in the jaw and put you to sleep, fight one more round. Remembering that the man who fights one more round is never quit. As Christians, we are expected to fight one more round. And after that round, we fight another. We must keep on fighting to the end if we expect to experience victory. After the deliverance at Dunkirk, Churchill rallied Britain with his most memorable speech. He said, "We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender." 2 Timothy 4:7. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. But have we? Will we be found fighting till our dying day? John Stuart Mill, a philosopher from London, England. He died in 1873. He said, "War is an ugly thing, but not the ugliest of things. The decayed and degraded state of moral and patriotic feeling is much worse. The person who has nothing for which he is willing to fight is a miserable creature." In life, there are some things that are worth fighting for. Our freedom in America and our freedom in Christ. So today, as we close, God bless the USA. God bless our veterans. And God bless the veterans of the Christian